You are listening to Mishknei Elyon with Rabbi David Katz and Malcolm.
Hi, Rabbi Katz. How are you?
Hey, Malcolm. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
We have a lot of pressure on our shoulders today.
Do we?
Yeah, it's the 8th day of Hanukkah. For me, not for you.
Oh, okay, that's right.
You'll get there, God willing, in a couple hours.
Yes, almost there.
And you probably, I don't know if you know this or not. A couple of things you might not know. Number one, there's a lot of things. Sfat is like famous for Hanukkah. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Why is it famous for Hanukkah?
It just is. It's like it just became that. I don't know. No good reason. But with that said, I've been in Sfat for 15 years, so I've become indoctrinated to Hanukkah. Do you think Hanukkah actually matters?
Yes.
Are you saying that from
Definitely.
Amunah, or because you actually know that?
No, from Amunah. Just complete Amunah.
All right, because it actually does matter when you get into it. It's very hard to get into. Most people in the world don't actually know what Hanukkah is and get into it. But the yeshiva in Sfat and all the yeshivas in Israel, they make a point to come to Sfat during Hanukkah. It's like it's the thing. And
really?
Yeah, and we get into it particularly deep here. My Rosh Yeshiva, his Rosh Yeshiva is Rav Yitzchak Hutner, who was the famous Pachad Yitzchak. And he wrote, like, one of the biggest, deepest, he wrote a whole series on all the holidays called Pachad Yitzchak. Like the Torah says Pachad Yitzchak, the dread of Isaac. And his discourse on Hanukkah is the best I've ever seen. He opens it up like nobody else.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, and I know outside of Sfat or Israel, towards where you're at, I don't know how many people actually get into Hanukkah as a practical tool of depth and thought.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much depth around here.
Yeah. So, and do you know what the 8th night of Hanukkah is called?
No, what is it called?
See, I figured you didn't know this. A lot of people don't know this. It's called Zos Hanukkah. This is Hanukkah. So in Chassidus, there's a lot of things about Zos Hanukkah. It's a thing. I'm telling you, outside of Sfat, I don't know how many people get into this. Hanukkah is like a rare gem. Certain things people don't get into, like the counting of the Omer.
Right.
Do you actually get into the Sfirot during the Sfirat Omer?
I can't speak. Yeah, this will be my first counting the Omer within a community.
But have you known anybody to actually get into the Sfirot of the Sfirat Omer?
No, just your stuff.
This is what I'm saying. So in Sfat, we have our own little things that we do. Obviously, Zohar learning is one of them for obvious reasons, right? Not so much learning on a Kabbalah, even though you'd think so, but people don't do that because that's cliche. It's like, no, I mean, they do learn it, but it's not. We're not identified by the result. Not really.
Oh, weird. I would have assumed.
I know. I mean, people, but because it's common. I mean, they're not looked at as a weirdo. I mean, you can learn the result, obviously, but there's just more. There's more breadth and three-dimensional views of I would almost call it abstract Kabbalah and Makshava, right? That people don't know about. Counting the Omer is a big one here. Everyone gets into it, like the Sfirot. Hanukkah is one of the biggest. Purim, really the insights and depth of Purim. Really, just Sfat has that weird kind of angle. It's like the lost Jewish spirituality. That's what Sfat really is. Is the lost Jewish true spirituality. So the guys that go to yeshiva, they go to Jerusalem, they go there for Talmud, right? Lumdus. And the guys that went to Sfat came here for the Jewish spirituality. So
sounds exciting.
It is. I mean, look, I'm 37, almost 38 years old now, but I came at 22, and you can imagine. I've been through a lot in Sfat. And I got here November 4th in 2001. And it was just before Hanukkah. And I thought Hanukkah was a joke. My Rosh Hashiva said, Dave, are you in we're doing Hanukkah. And I'm like, are you serious? He says, you need to buy a menorah. I'm like, is there a Purim carnival too with a goldfish? So, but my life changed that Hanukkah, And the 8th night is tonight, right now, and it's the essence of Hanukkah. It's Zos Hanukkah. I urge you to go out and buy, anyone listening, I don't know what the book is called, I have it in English, but it's Rav Hutner on Hanukkah. I don't know if you can get it in print anymore. It was adapted by Rabbi Pinchas Stolper.
Look for it.
So anybody listening, if the Torah is true, we should have some good insights on Zos Hanukkah right now. Me, not Malcolm. You're only in the 7th day.
Right.
Just joking.
I'm a little behind.
That's it. You'll get there. God willing, the light will shine through. No, but seriously, it's here we are in Hanukkah, so we should get some good stuff. So, for those following along, you probably know the drill by now, right? Malcolm's going to read, then we go back and forth and hash out some good stuff. So go ahead, Malcolm, and take us from where we left off last time.
Okay, for those following in the English, we're holding at the bottom of page 58.
We use Rabbi Greenbaum's translation of the Ramchal's Mishknei Elyon, the heavenly temple. Go ahead.
Okay. Stretching out in all directions, from the stone are channels and pathways leading to all things. At their start, these channels are great highways, governing and regulating all the different orders and species of created beings, all of which have a deep inner knowledge of their root paths. From here, they all receive their share of the constant sustenance given to them by the king.
Okay. Go again, and I'm going to stop you and start you. Go real slow. Let me,
Okay.
I'm gonna get away from the English. I don't want to look at it because it just takes up space in my stender. So, go real slow. Go ahead.
Okay. Stretching out in all directions.
All right, stop.
From this stone.
Stop. Umemena nispashtu saviv mesilis ushvilim lekul davar. So we're talking about the Even Shtia, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And that is like this stone, that it's not a proper sphera, it's not a proper anything. It's just God made a space of all the goodness above, and it exists below, correct?
Correct.
And obviously it's going to be the third temple, it's going to be over that thing. But I don't know that yet. So, it's in this world, just God has in this world, I think what we say is, do you know what the Hishtalshalis is?
Vaguely, yeah.
God bringing his energy into this world, right?
Right.
So I guess we can assume there's a special channel that it's like God's personal channel, right? That God governs the universe, our universe with, from God on high, and I think it's by the lessening of his names, right? It's by him bringing his names into the world through the Hishtalshalis of his name. There creates a place that God is able to interact with mankind and govern mankind, influence mankind, right? Now, it's a very limited view of God, but for the sake of discussion, we'll limit it at that. Maybe, in fact, that's why it's called the Kav, the ray of light coming in, because it's supposed to be limited, right? We're not trying to talk about God in all of his glory. We're talking about one narrow aspect, and that is just God's hand coming into this world. So there's a
relationship.
What's that?
What's the relationship between the Kav and the Even Shtia?
Are you asking?
Yeah.
The Kav is the influence, the channel pouring onto the Even Shtia.
Okay.
Even Shtia is the place of God's influence.
Okay.
Right? And I'm speaking very vague and general because the scope of this book, I'm sure, is to clarify that question.
Okay, alright.
So, but for the sake of discussion, let's assume that's what's happening. God created the world, and there's an aspect of Atsilis, the higher world, where it's just, it's where God interfaces that world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a channel that ends up in our world, and God has chosen that place, which effectively is called Sion, and it's the Even Shtia. There's a lot more to that, and I would love to get into it, but not for this class.
Okay.
I mean, we could probably identify it in Atsilis, but that's not what we're here to do. That's why I'm keeping it very general. Even as much as it kills me to do so, because I would like to, discuss it. In fact, I think the Bahir talks about it. It's called Dar and another gemstone. I forget what it's called. Dar and I forget, but it's like it's located at Malchus and at Keter. I forget the other name of the gemstone. It's in the Bahir. It talks about the gems that God put every beautiful thing in the world onto them. And it was rejected by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but the Mashiach gets it. Alright, so that's an Atsilis. And that's a worthy discussion in their time. But it comes down into this world. The Chayin.
Okay.
Where are we at now? So we're focusing out of that spot. And it's the holiest of spots. Umimena nispashtu, and from it spreads out. You can even translate as strips out. Right? It's stripped out. Nispashtu. That, I don't even know what that means, because if it's nispashtu, that has many levels. What is being stripped away? Right? Because this world is klippa. There's veils. There's garments. And right. from that, it strips away. So I would say that connecting to that strips away you and connects you to the source. Right? So from it, it spreads out and strips away. So the more you get aligned with Zion and God's influence, it strips away your klipa, your garment, and connects to your soul. Saviv Masilis, Shvilim Lekol Devarim. And it surrounds. It has surrounding pathways. And Shvilim, like secret pathways. Like little alleys and big roads. All these, have you ever seen that video on YouTube of a guy pouring molten lead into an ant farm?
Yeah.
And it comes out looking like the Borg, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's our world. There's all these pathways of wisdom. L'kol Devarim. It doesn't say to some Devarim, to some things, or to most things. It says all things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything in creation has pathways of wisdom. You are never without God. And everything comes ultimately to the Even Shtia, to the place. So all pathways lead to Zion. The more you get on the highway of wisdom and you strip away, it's like how in a snake, when it's in its mouth, you can't go out because the teeth are pointed towards you, right?
Right.
So why can't you? We talked about this a little bit in our previous classes. Why can't you get to God? Because if you try to go to God, you go against God. Because your body blocks you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And God made a logical system. Like, you know that God's part of you, correct?
Right.
So why can't you just stop being Malcolm and be God? You know you want to get to God, and you know God is with you, and you're not separate from God. Why do you insist on being miserable as Malcolm?
Because it's the reality we're in. I mean, there's no other way.
So just stop being you. Stop being some klippa. Why don't you just be part of God?
Mm-hmm.
Because God made it logical for you to be you. Number one is the world to come, right? There's a reason why you play along. God is so great, he makes a system that he can buy into. Only God is that powerful to do it.
Right.
It's like if Malcolm decides to be Magnum PI and he actually buys it. Like, you won't break character. You actually are Magnum PI.
Right.
Right, but you have to buy into it. See, now the thing is, God is reality. So he buys his own ratzon of reality. Right? So he is so great. It's a famous question. Can God make a rock so big that God can't move it? The answer is yeah. But if he wanted to move it, he could. But he chooses not to. Why? Because he buys into his own creation.
So you're saying it's like he's playing the role, so to speak. Like he's letting the drama play out.
But because he created it, so it's illogical to go against it.
Yeah, right. It has to be logical
For
to follow the system.
Because it's ultra logical and it doesn't break shape. The reason why you can't stop being Malcolm is because you'll die, and it's not logical to die.
Right.
See, God created logic. You can't be illogical.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's not logical for me to smack my head and say that feels good. No, I don't do that. So he created a logic and a ratzon that he abides by, and that your body abides by. So the only way you can get to God is if you shed the corporeality of you. But that has to be done through the logic and will of God. That's called becoming holy and purified and working your way to Zion. See, it's like God created a set of rules that he abides by. Because they are true and wise rules. It's called wisdom. Right? And so the reason why he's God is because he made such a huge creation that it's illogical and impossible to go against it. You see what I'm saying? Like, God made a world, a creation that he can dwell in. Only God can be that powerful. See, you cannot convince yourself that you're Magnum PI. You will quit.
Right.
So he's not tricking himself. He's creating a domain that he can dwell in. Only an all-powerful being can do that, because reality is in his hand. Right? So once he makes the reality, then it's real. Then it's able to be. It's life. Now, only God can make reality. Right? If I have a reality where you and I play Little House on the Prairie, right? We're not powerful enough to make that real, right? The planet Mercury does not cooperate with us. So God, as bigger than creation, he defines reality. That's the koyach, the power of God's ratzon. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That God has a ratzon that becomes law. We don't have that kind of ratzon. So imagine your body is married in a dysfunctional relationship with your soul. Why can't you just tell your body to cooperate? Because your body is under the jurisdiction of God's immeasurable ratzon. God simply wills your body into existence.
Right.
Okay. So then, that's what it means, this pashtu. Right? It spreads from there. So, for you to work your way into the Holy of Holies, eventually you have to shed as much klippah as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the system of wisdom in the world. Basically, it's that ant farm, right? We are in God's system trying to get to the influence of that place. Okay, next go ahead and read the next sentence. Go slow.
Okay. At the start, these channels are great highways governing and regulating all the different orders and species of created beings.
Stop. Ubetachila nasu mesilas gedolos sevivosea. In the beginning, betachila, at the start. It's important to use the word start rather than beginning. Because God did not begin the universe. That's a historical view of the Arizal Simsum. But remember, we're not reading it historically. We're talking from the start, right? If I gave you $1, how did you get that $? It came from creation from God, right?
Right.
So if I give you $1, God starts it from Him before creation, right?
I see.
And then it goes through creation, and eventually it gets to me, and I give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So every single thing that happens started with God. You see why the word start is better than begin?
Yeah, definitely.
Beginning is an objective beginning of the universe, and I don't really care about that. That's not my job. God was there alone, not my business. What we need to know is that everything starts with God. So if you get fired and you need a job, then you have to know it's all in God's will, and God will give you shefa. Then the shefa comes to you by God taking care of His creation and feeding the creation with shefa. Then ultimately it gets to Malcolm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So He takes care of all creatures, all creations at all times, at one time, at once. One start. It starts, it goes, and then God starts again. And pulsates. That's how it is in the upper world, where the Machshava comes down. In our world, it begins with, before the Bet of Bereshit, right? But don't read it in the beginning, read it at the start. So it starts with making great pathways that surround. They are the ways, like the drachim, the established and known ways, to all creations and all types. Ki kulam mavinim es darkam. All of them understand. Or you can say that they have become an aspect of the kav, right? And their way. You want me to prove it to you?
Okay.
Are you a person?
Yeah.
Am I a person?
Yeah.
Are you confusing me? Do I think that I'm you?
No.
How do I know I'm not you?
Because you could see we're different. We're apart. There's separation.
That's what it means, mavinim. To split hairs, right? Everybody has their path. But what might look like I'm confused by you. You could say, wow, I don't know what to do. Do I do what Malcolm does, or do I do what I do? At the end of the day, even though we have free will, man does know his path. That's the chiddush.
Right.
Because we think we don't know our way. Because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But at the end of the day, you'd say that all options are possible, but they're not. It's that kav. You see what I'm saying? What's
Right.
possible for you could look like a possibility for me, but it really isn't. Because don't look at it as, God running the universe. It's a very narrow view. It's the kav. So your God looks different than my God. Right? Your kav is different than mine. But the miracle is that when we discuss the kav, it turns out our lives are exactly the same. We share the same life form, the same life source with the same God.
Mm-hmm.
It's relativity, right? So even though it becomes specific to us, it's objectively true and subjectively true that we are of the same God and we are actually one. So it's not a contradiction to say God is all-powerful and one, and it's not a contradiction to say it's okay that I understand my way, and it is my way. You see that?
Yeah, definitely.
Continue.
Okay. All of which have a deep inner knowledge of their root paths.
Yeah.
From here they all receive their share of the constant sustenance given to them by the king.
And from there, on your path. As King David says, just walk your path. That's all life is, right? Tzedek is when you're loyal to your path. Mishpat is when God beats you up to keep you on your path. That's why you stay on your path. If I start being Malcolm, I will get beat up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I went around saying, yeah, my name's Malcolm and I live in Toronto, what are people going to do to me?
They're going to think you're crazy.
Exactly. They're not going to laugh and say, that's pretty good. Right? Because, you cannot go against God. It's not logical, and His will beat you up. He does not break shape. You see what I'm saying? You cannot just undo being David Katz. It doesn't work.
So, I mean, you can't really ever fall off your path then, right?
No, you can't. That's the beauty of it. It's not because God made it so intensely real that it's not logical.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You might say, wow, I would really love to be Malcolm. He has a much better life than I do. It does not matter how much I would envy you or jealous or hate you, whatever bodily, animalistic thing, right? I just cannot undo reality of me. It's impossible. And people try, right, with fantasy, right? I would love to be this, I'd love to be that. It's all a joke. Because at the end of the day, you just can't stop being you. God's will is more powerful than your free will.
Right.
But God creates the creation that, how does God convince David Katz's soul and David Katz's animal body to cooperate? There's something called Mazel, Mishpat, Musar. If I am not playing by reality, because I just don't understand my soul, or my body doesn't understand my soul, vice versa, the Mazel Malcolm program is sent with a stick to beat me up. Data of your path comes from outside of you. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So God lets you and your body have this little tango. And then, to keep it legit, we beat you up. So that way you stick to your path. But God makes it natural. See, that's the beautiful thing. God makes it within creation. And natural that you stick to your path through logic and His will. So you stick to your path, and from there you take your portion, Chelkam, Aruchat Tamid, the portion of your path. Again, remember, you stick to the path. That's what Tzedek means in David's Tehillim. And Mishpat is you take the rebuke that you need to stay on your path. Remember, because your body is under the will of God. And God will take your body off the path. And your soul's like, this guy's an idiot. Why doesn't he cooperate? And your body's like a jailkeeper. He just wants to abuse and rape your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what drives your soul nuts. That's why your soul has a challenge, to rope in the body. And to keep everything in check, me, the Mazel man, beats up Malcolm to keep you on your path. The Mazel, in totality, is what you call you. How your wife beats you up, your friends beat you up, your parents beat you up, right? We all beat you up.
Right.
Your mazel and your merit is the degree that you're being beat up. And that's because it keeps you in the ratzon and logic of God. And you say, well, why is it worth it? Okay, well then why don't you just kill yourself, Malcolm? No, I can't do that. Why? Not logical. Why is it not logical? Because my soul knows I get rewarded in the world to come. It's just not logical. It's not logical for me to end it and go to God now. Now, there are those that do. But for them, whatever reason, God made it logical. Right? Why did God bring suicide in the world? Well, why did God bring any sin in the world?
Right.
One answer is to teach you, Malcolm, not to do it. Because then you see how bad it is.
Mm.
Right? But you see how it is. It's a perfect system. Right? You get beat up and it hurts, and you say, how is this logical? And the answer is, then end it. I can't. Why? Because it's logical. Right? You agree to play by God's rules. So it must be your soul knows something your body doesn't. That if you cooperate, it works out. So in the end, you get your portion and you stay on your path. But you experience discomfort on your path. And that's the dynamic of your body and your soul. And that is the challenge of this world to overcome that dysfunctional marriage that you're put in, body and soul. So you do get what's coming. Again, it's the perspective that changes the flavor. I mean, that's what makes sports great, right? Is that when you realize, I mean, the famous wrestling quotes are like, suffer now, enjoy later. I mean, that's the truth, right? The whole premise of wrestling is if you suffer to no end, you're guaranteed to win the wrestling match. And that's why they win, right? I know if I suffer and you don't, guess who's going to win the match? Me. I earned it. I put in more than you. So that's true on anything. So why are you suffering? Because you believe that you're better. What you're saying is, I am Malcolm, the star wrestler, when you know you're not. Right? You're trying to tell God that your body's trying to get out of the logic. Your nefesh is saying, well, Malcolm, did you ever try to actually work out? No. God owes me. I'm entitled.
Right.
But again, that's just God behind your body. And your nefesh suffers it. So again, it all works out. It all works out. The only question is, why does God make life? And the answer is because, God created. God came to life. And it's worth it. In the end, everything works out. It's all logical and within the boundary of good. So you get what's coming, always. Anatan alehem me'es hamelech. There will always be what you need. Right? Malcolm, the true person, instead of Malcolm, the fantasy. What you actually are, your reality, is always given to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Branching off from these highways are countless smaller pathways containing the individual roots of every single being in creation, from the biggest to the smallest.
He put a little extra words in there, but V'achar eila mesilas nimsav. After you have these main pathways,
right,
it comes out more pathways. Shvilim rabim katani mehem. So you should know the Zohar has a famous theme running through it. And also the Vilna Gaon in his commentary of Mishlei also. There's something called a Mesila, Orech, Derech, and Shvil. All different types of pathways. I urge the readers or listeners to get into the Vilna Gaon commentary of Mishlei for the different discussions of dynamics of these different pathways. But what he's saying, so I forget, I took notes, but I forget what they are. It was a long time ago. But he's saying there's like your personal way, and then there's more ways that are around you, and some are bigger and some are smaller. Right? So your reality can either get in clarity, or it can remain vague. That's up to you. You know? Everything is on your path. Your free will is how you define your path. I am a wrestler, is that correct?
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
But I had a choice once upon a time. Do I want to be known as the wrestler defined by my singlet or by my Talmudic debate? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't know me as a wrestler by looking at me, but only by talking with me. Some wrestlers, you know them by exactly how they look. Right? They became defined as a wrestler. So the way you define your reality, that's up to you. Remember, again, how much layers do you want to strip off? I'm a well-garmented wrestler. You wouldn't know by looking at me. That's why there's many layers to me. I mean, I'm not a pure breed wrestler, right? So it's when you are specific to your path, you identify very clearly. You have no clipper. And the goal is to be authentic you. Whatever Malcolm is, you should be authentically you. Right? So if you're a man, you should be a man. I should not have to wonder about your gender. Number two, whatever it is, right? You're a married man, I shouldn't have to see you hanging out with the girls at the bar, right? You should be loyal.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a married man with kids, whatever, you should be supporting your family, right? I shouldn't have to see, you taking the easy way out of life. Now, if you are not doing that, then you're still supporting your family. You're just doing it in ways that are ambiguous and curious, right? You're still a man, no matter what you do, but it might be in ambiguous and curious ways. Again, your job is to know your mazel and know what you are and be true in reality to what you are. The more you do that, the more you are on the road to Zion. Yeah?
Right.
Next sentence, go ahead.
Each one has its own unique pathway.
What is that?
That sentence.
Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? You went. Okay, the Hebrew. I got behind. Let me catch up. The English was just different than I thought. Here we go. L'shvilim ha'ela ein cheker ve'ein mispar. Let me see if he put that in there. I don't think this. I got issues here, but whatever. I'll read it my way. Shvilim ha'ela. These shvilim, these numerous pathways. Ein cheker ve'ein mispar. They're too much that you can investigate. Do you ever watch Star Trek, Malcolm?
No.
You know about parallel universes?
Yeah, I know the concept.
Huh?
I know of the concept, yeah.
You said, I know of the concept, right?
Yeah.
Now say that in a sentence a little bit different. Go ahead.
I don't know how else I could say it.
Just any change. Go ahead.
I'm drawing a blank here. What are you looking for?
Just say it grammatically a little bit different.
Well, I said I know I know of the concept.
Mm-hmm.
I know concept. I'm not sure.
Okay, so you said two different ways. Is there really a big noticeable difference in the two ways?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not dramatically. Like the world's not going to come to an end.
Right.
So every path that you choose, you got to figure there's at least those differences in potential.
Okay, I see.
So there's no point in investigating them. They're endless. Right? You see what I'm saying? That your free will is that you can do an infinite amount of things.
In potential.
Yes. So therefore, do you need to investigate your actions on that level? No. Right? Ein cheker, ein mispar. See what I'm saying?
Right.
It's endless. Ki behen nishrash shel kol advarim l'migdal va'ad katan. They're rooted. In them is rooted all things. For greatness and for, not great, small. And it comes out to everything a path by itself. Your job is just be you. You can just be you.
Right.
So if I say, don't say right, Malcolm, you should say, right on.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
on me then.
That's right. Yeah. So what am I going to do? Correct you every time? Or that's what Hollywood tries to do. And
Right.
it's ridiculous. The bottom line is, when you conceive a child, is it best to take one sperm and the egg and make a designer baby, or just let it happen?
Just let it happen.
Let it happen. God runs the universe. Right? We can question all these little designer avenues. Not necessary. Right? Just let it rip. Be you. Be authentic in you. I mean, think about what you do. But you don't need to second guess, should I have said right or right on? Wow, what should I have done? No, do what you do. So that's where I'm at. I read that. Did you follow where I'm at in English?
Yeah, I know where you are.
All right, so go ahead.
I just want to quickly just recap what this has said so far, I guess, for my own benefit. So the main pathways that emanate from the Evangelia says that the main pathways govern the different orders and species. So that's like the general, the claw, so to speak, right? And so the smaller pathways.
No, you say everything leads to Zion.
Right. So that's what what's the distinction between the greater pathways and why the smaller pathways? Why does the Malcolm program have to be on the smaller pathway?
No, it's not. There are big pathways to you and small ones.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Did you choose to get married?
Yeah.
So you changed lives with that one, didn't you?
Right, I see.
You just said right, I see. Now, was that a big choice that you just did?
Yeah.
No, saying those words, right, I see.
Was that a big choice?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a big choice.
No, so it didn't have that much reverberation. But was it still with wisdom? Can I actually look up and analyze those words and find wisdom in there?
Yeah.
So all roads do lead to Zion.
Okay.
There are big paths to you, and there are not big paths to you.
Right.
But if we strip away corporeality of everything you do, you will get closer to Zion. Now, your job is, what do you want to investigate? Do you want to focus on right, I see, or whatever you said? Or do you want to focus on your marriage? Do you want to focus on your diet? What do you want to focus on?
Mm-hmm.
That's up to you. God tells you what to focus on. Torah, mitzvahs, Kabbalah, that your soul. That's Torah. Torah tells you what is the tree of life. Right? The Hindu says meditate on a cup and see what comes out of that. You can do that, but the Torah says not to. It's a waste of time. Everything is wisdom and gets to God. Torah tells you what is the holiest way to do it. Right? Is it better to shake a lulav or meditate on a cup?
Right.
Right? Because if you use your mind, you're just man. God says, let me tell you what is the truth. Right? Seichel Enoshi and the Nefesh Elokis. The holy soul are the minds of man. Do you want to listen to your idiot body? Or do you want the muster, God's rebuke to come onto your path?
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to play by the rules of God's creation. Right? Because otherwise you're gonna what does Solomon say? He who forsakes my rebuke, woe to him, or whatever Solomon says, right? So if you have so much klippa that I say, Malcolm, why don't you shake a lulav? And you say, get out of here, you're a no good person, Pewee. I want to focus on my cup. So now look how much ego and walls and that you put up, all your klippas, right?
Right.
Because you're telling me I'm God, right? I'm coming with the stick. I don't know that, but you're telling God, get out of my life. I want to get to the bottom of my cup. And so, but when you made that declaration, God making mankind come to you, we can't get to you. What that really means is God strengthened your body so much you are actually taken out of creation. Right? You're just a stumbling block now for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what it really means then, from that level, you're the one now with the stake on my path.
Right.
But it goes back and forth. I mean, there's no end to it. right? But the Torah tells you where to focus. So if you get over the cup and you start shaking a lulav, now we have a holy relationship, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it becomes achdus, unity, brotherhood, right? We're talking about mitzvahs and Torah together, and we're bringing down the shefa. And we're through chasadim, we're taking the gevoras off that prevent us from seeing God's revelation. Otherwise, it's an ego battle, right? And then it's just there's no God there. You don't see God in me, I don't see God in you. It's just, what is it? We're just animals. And basically providing a whipping stick in some holier life form that we're unaware of.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. All these channels and pathways start in the place I mentioned at the outset.
Wait, where is that? Okay, stop. All these ways, all hamasilis v'shvilim kulam, every type of way, channel, road, avenue, omdim ba'oso hamakom asher zacharti lecha b'rishayna. They all stand in this place that I mentioned to you at first. So everything is given its sustenance by God. And the sustenance goes out from Zion. Go ahead.
From the point where they all join together in the stone in the middle of this place.
Stop. Ubiyosem miskadsim be'evin. That they're all, everything is joined in the stone that's in the middle of this place. Go ahead.
The Creator watches over them.
Stop.
And scans them all.
Stop. Misham yishgiach aleihem hayoytzer baruch hu. From there. I like this word yishgiach. How do I want to translate this? Directs on them the Creator, blessed be He. Now remember, if the Creator is stressing the rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have an ego, you meditate on a cup, right?
Right.
Can you recognize God?
No.
Because it's like the snake, like the inverse, right? You can't go against that guy is too clippidic to get to God, right? It's a square,
right.
Square in a round hole, or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how does he get to God? He has to chip away his armor to fit through the channel.
Right.
So everything is governed by God. Remember, God's will and logic maintains order in creation. Only if you merit to fit the channel do you get to God. See, eventually you're not going to fit a channel. Let's say there's a Cohen that goes in the Holy of Holies once a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he go higher? Why can't he be Jesus?
Why?
Because he doesn't fit the channel.
Right.
He's too coarse. Right? The Kohen Gadol at that time is just like your Neanderthal meditating on a cup. It's as if God is saying, why are you doing that? And he doesn't even hear it. If he heard it, he would get rid of it and he would go to God. Remember, everybody would return to God if they could.
Right.
The reason why they don't is because it's not logical. You can't just stop being you and say, okay, I'm done, I'm God now. Because God made the system that creation buys into it. The Kohen Gadol is more interested in being Yochanan Kohen Gadol than God himself. Because God makes the ratzon and so logical in creation that you don't go against God. God made the system. You see?
Right.
The system is God made the system. Look, God and His name are one on that level. You see what I'm saying? He made a rock so big you can't move it, so to speak.
Right.
So therefore, nobody can say, "Hey, I'm going to make God remove that rock." My mother was living with me for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I found amazing living with your mother at 37 years old?
What?
She will never undo being your mother.
Right.
You're saying, I'm 37. Can you please stop taking my laundry and washing it? I can do my own laundry. You know why she doesn't know what that means?
She's the mother?
She cannot undo being your mother. I'm trying to say, hey, we're enlightened people. Grow up and be my friend. She can't.
Mm-hmm.
You are not refined enough to be her friend. You see what I'm saying? To be her friend, you would have to literally be God Himself. And you can't. You're not interested. You don't want to go there. That's what I'm saying. You can't make it back to God. You're too coarse to fit through that channel.
Right. Okay.
It's like would you go back to kindergarten if you could?
No.
No. But you thought about it once in your life, like, hey, I could have been like the man. If I knew now what I knew, I'd go back and then, right? But really, you wouldn't. You just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you could, but you won't. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The creation buys in the creation.
We are who we are.
You have to, because it's not logical otherwise. Because God creates your body to govern your soul. Your soul wants to go to God. God controls your body so it won't let it. You see what I'm saying? It's like men and women. Men see women as a sexual object, correct?
Right.
And it's like you saying, can you just stop being a human for like 25 minutes so I can exploit you? That's the fallacy of a man. That's what Shlomo Mela talks about in Mishlei. Right? The real Madriga of victory in this world is when man and woman get together not from exploitation. Because what is the Yetzer Hara? In terms of that, when basically he overpowers her, or vice versa, and he says, you're just an object for these 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great evil. Because where does her self-esteem go in those 25 minutes? It's exploitation. You're convincing yourself she is just an inanimate object for 25 minutes. It's impossible. And it's a great lie, it's an evil, and you're going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're going to pay for it. Because it wasn't true. Nobody stops being them for the sake of Malcolm. You know, Riley Katz, you're pretty annoying. Can you just stop being you for about half an hour? If you think that I stopped being me for you, you think that you got closer to God. You see what I'm saying? Because you got the rules to break for you.
Right.
What you don't realize is I never stopped being me. I hated you the whole time. Right? So your ego just got huge. And you did a great evil to my soul. And nobody won. You see my point? You cannot cheat the system of God. You cannot
You think you cheated. That's just it's the way it was, no matter what.
That's right. And all you did was you put impurities all over the soul. And now your soul has been so damaged that and your soul is like the feminine. It's the Shekhinah. So now your ego says, I am like God. Now you're in trouble. Because you convinced your soul that it was on the level of going back to God. Now your soul believes it. God created the soul that way. The only way you can get out of it is to do tshuva. You got to undo the damage you did to your soul by letting your soul believe that you really got closer to God by getting rid of me. That's why the Torah is true. You have to do tshuva. You have to come to me and say, I'm sorry. And I have to forgive you. Otherwise, I did a great damage on my soul. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. It's amazing.
The soul plays by the rules, and it becomes a victim of sin and consequence. So again, at the end of the day, God pushes creation. By merit and mazel, the creation gets close to God. But everything has its limit. Because nothing can get past a certain point. Otherwise, it's exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great sin. That's like the Greeks coming into the Kadosh HaKadoshim tonight. Right? Hanukkah. They thought, hey, look, we made it, we're here. No, you didn't. You cheated. Right? It's like a homeless guy living in Sfat. Is he really living in Sfat? A guy got off the bus and he slept on the curb. Is he now a citizen of Sfat? No.
No.
Now, that might turn into 50 years, that's a different story. But you hear my point. Or, when I was a Bucker living in the dorm, was I a citizen? Not like I am now. I'm more Sfati now than I was then. So again, you see the fallacies of other religions. Right? You can't get up to heaven, so to speak, because it's not logical. You can't stop being you. It's not logical to not be you. No matter how much you might want to be some divine harp player in heaven, right? That's not what you want to do. God created you that you only want to do and be what you are. Go ahead.
Okay. The Creator watches over them and scans them all.
By the way, I just remembered the name of that other stone. Sachar and Hadar. That's what it's called. Sachar and Dar. Go ahead, read it again, sorry.
The Creator watches over them and scans them all with a single glance.
Stop. Sokar otam beskira achos. I don't know what sokar means. I guess it means glance. Let me look that word up. I don't trust this. I don't trust anybody, Malcolm. Trust anybody. Pull the wool over my eyes. I've never seen this word before. What do you think? What are the odds of this being right? What do you think it means? What are the odds of it meaning scan?
Is that what it's scan?
That's what you said. I don't know. Maybe you made it up. Are you the victim? Are you the villain?
I don't know anything with Hebrew, but I guess it could be scan.
Skira. Let's see here. Soaker. Reviewer. Scar. I'm watching you, Wilhelm. I'm not, I'm not convinced about you yet. You may be making all kind of little false assumptions over here. Glance, look, survey, coverage. That's interesting, like coverage of the news. That's nice. Glance, look. Yeah, it's like watching the news. That's a good mushroom.
Well, did you say review could have been a possible translation?
Review.
Because I like review because it's almost as if the creator puts it into motion and then it's not that he separates himself like so to speak, but he's not reviewing it. He's watching everything. The motion's been set.
Kind of like upon instant review, Dalton is out for the season, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Let me see if it makes sense what you're saying. Soker Otar Beskira. He reviews them in one review. Why do you think it's review?
Well, because the creator's outside of time. It's not like he has to see all the pathways emanating and connecting. It's in motion.
Yeah. He has the luxury of being the creator to review it.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So he has all the creation, all those paths. So he can scan, he can look, he can review, right? Mm-hmm. Scrutinize. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he has the benefit of like to use like the football analogy, he has the benefit of different angles of camera that we would never have.
Right. And he's not bound by time and a body, so it's not painful to say, to scrutinize every little, like, look, Star Wars is coming out in a week, right? I'm sure you're probably going to watch it, am I right? Right about that?
Probably not, no.
No? Ah, well, you should.
No.
But you know how Hollywood does it? They literally, every second of a movie is scrutinized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sound thing here, edit. I mean, literally every second is under care. So you gotta figure, if man can do that, all the more so God can do it well beyond belief.
Exactly.
That means that life is refined, right? What is the essence of refinement? When you scrutinize every little detail. Right? Remember I said, when you said right, why didn't you say right on? You should have said right on.
I need to say right.
But you
I need to say right, though.
But Hollywood will say, no, Malcolm. The Malcolm that I envision says right on.
Right, but in our case, it's the creator who's...
So the creator says everything is on your path, correct?
Correct.
That means he has reviewed everything on your path.
Right.
That means you're already super duper refined.
Right, so I should have said right and not right on.
Well, yeah, that's obvious at this point. But what I'm saying is, do you know what refined looks like?
Give me an example.
All right, so let's look at Andy Dalton, right? When he throws the ball, I mean this, right? He throws a touchdown pass, right?
Yeah.
Could you do it?
No.
Why?
I don't have the mechanics yet.
The mechanics is the word. That's the beautiful thing about sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't look like a goon when you do it. When he does it, it's a spiral, right? I mean, it looks like soft and fuzzy where you are mechanical and clunky.
Right.
You know what I mean by soft and fuzzy?
It all flows. Like it's
well, when the receiver runs down the field and his hips swivel and his knees churn, you see that soft, fuzzy feeling?
Yeah.
When we run, we're like the right? I mean, look, also, a newscaster, right? If I made you do the news, how would you sound? Well, But when they do it, they scrutinize it, right?
Yeah.
We had a episode today, and da 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 da, because it's scrutinized. There's no waste product.
Right, it's refined.
It's refined, but from the scrutiny. That's my point. That guy that does the newscast, he went over that piece 100 times. Right? His body doesn't suffer those 100 times like you do.
Uh-huh.
That's how you're refined. Right? Why does the wrestler win? Because he refines it. He went over it 1 billion times. Right? It's like in football. Why does Peyton Manning know where the guy's open? He went over it 1 million times. So it's like clockwork. It's soft and fuzzy. That's why we like this world. We like football, right? We like soft, fuzzy things. It's called refinement. The Ramchal compares it between hair and wool. Right? You wear a wool sweater. You don't wear a hairy sheep back, right?
Yeah.
So that's my point. If God is the ultimate reviewer, then everything about Malcolm is exactly refined. Malcolm's job is just to know that. Isn't that awesome?
That's amazing.
That's all your job is to do. Is just to know that. See, when you said it's amazing, you're self-conscious because you said, "Wow, I think in Judaism it's illegal to say amazing. I should have said right on." Why? Well, because last time I said that, I got in trouble. Did you ever think maybe you're in the wrong synagogue? I can't leave that synagogue. Why? This is your Musar call. Are you too egotistical to hear the stick of God hitting you in the head, Malcolm? See, we psych ourselves out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to get to the Batachon, I am perfect. God made me perfect. But God made you have to follow the system. See, you require me to tell you you're perfect. You can't say it. Otherwise, you're meditating on the cup. You see?
Right, it's ego. Yeah.
That's right. I gotta hit you in the head, and you say, "Oh, I was supposed to do this or that," or Or, no, he's wrong. He's just hitting me in the head for fun. So you have to, this is it. Ready for this? This is awesome. God has reviewed and scrutinized you. You have to review and scrutinize God. Isn't that nice?
I like that.
That's it. That's it. And the more you do that, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get to God, and God's trying to say, oh, really? You're trying to scrutinize me, huh? Oh, let me show you who God is. Pop. But that, in Kabbalah, it's called Or Chozer or Yasher. What is Or Chozer? You're trying to get to God. You know you complain about God. Right? You got fired. What did you say? Oh, thanks, God. It's great. I love being scared to death. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You say, God, why would you do that, God? See? Now you try to get to God, and God said, that's not me. That's you. Now your choice. Are you going to be evil or are you going to be good, right? Because I'm going to now come along and say, hey, Malcolm, how's it going? Shut up! Get out of my way! Why would you do that to me, Malcolm? I'm trying to help you. Now you're exploiting me, and now you think I'm being quiet because you're the big Malcolm program. Now you made it even harder. Now you got to come out and say you're sorry.
Right.
Then when you say you're sorry, we'll talk. And guess what happens? God helps out and says, oh, let's take care of Malcolm now. He's chilling out. Then the Chasadim come down.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to get to God. God beats you up. Because now you got to come in and make nice to me. Now Or Yasher comes. Now the refinement comes. You let go of your ego. Well, I guess I'm not the greatest at my thing, you know? Yeah, Malcolm, you're good at other stuff. You know, did you ever think about this other thing? Oh, you're right. I always forget about that. So then you gotta sit back and say, man, what just happened? I yelled at my best friend and I got fired. Now you're scrutinizing God the right way. Right? You're letting God reveal the scrutiny to you. You're meeting God halfway. You're not trying to overpower God. Because you're back to being logical. You're just being Malcolm. You're not being the greatest super duper thing ever.
Right.
That was all fiction of a figment of your imagination. So the ultimate place is the middle way, like the Rambam says, all these things say, right? When God scrutinizes you, always, just for the sake of your benefit, by the way. And then you scrutinize God, but not from din. God, I'm not trying to go against the system, because that is illogical. I'm just trying to be one with the system. If you were to master that, you would get back to God. But you can't. Why? Because God ultimately runs your body. Right? He is the one ultimately that rises to the challenge more than you ever will.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your merit that you ask for the best. And that's the test of this world. How refined can you become? And see, there's another test. Let's say you become refined, right? God's going to tell David Katz to lay off of Malcolm. Everyone's going to lay off. Now we have a different test. How do you get yourself more refined when we praise you? Now there's a different danger. Right. Now you think you are God. Because we all praise you. Now you have to be saying, now all day long you say, no, it's not me, it's God. Hey, that was Abraham. But eventually, how do you rise to the challenge? Where does your Gevurah come from now? Now you're wishing that I would hit you over the head with a stick. You're praying now for God to hit you over the head with a stick. And you have to mean it. You can't be fake. Right? You cannot say you want hit over the head with a stick if you don't. That's not authentic.
Right. So
you have to really know that you want hit over the head with a stick. For the sake of your greater good.
Of course.
So you see, it's impossible. Why? Because at that point, it doesn't become logical.
Right.
It's just logical to take your portion at the end of days like God told Daniel. Because the point is not to be God. The point is for you to be a part of creation. God created creation. See my point?
Yeah.
See, you would think the point is to get back to God. It isn't. God created a place to live. You are part of that place. Go ahead.
Okay. This is the secret of the verse. He forms their hearts together. He understands all their works.
Hayotzer yachad liva, amavin el kol ma'asehim. See, everybody's got their own action. Your soul in your body has its own dynamic and unique quality, right?
Right.
But our hearts are all together. That's what I'm saying. We're all separate, but we're all one. So you're allowed to exist, and you're different than me. But we can talk and relate and be one at the same time. Go ahead.
For this stone stands at the heart of the universe.
Ki zois ha'evin b'leiv ha'olam hi oimidis. That even the creation has a heart. Right? The stone is like a heart. It's where everything leaves the heart. And it's at the heart of the world. Go ahead.
And there all things are gathered in and joined together.
You going?
And scanned in a single glance by the king.
V'shamhim kulam yachad mischavrim v'nasafim v'niskarim b'skira chos me'es hamelech. There they are all joined, united, gathered, and reviewed with one glance of the king. So God is able to look at the creation through the channels at the start. And he sees from the start to the end. And he's able to give the sustenance in a refined way. So that's when it's in the universe. The greatest gift is when God makes the heart of the universe on Mount Zion. I would say revealed on Mount Zion, right?
Okay.
That's what we're trying to get to. And we'll stop there. But the point is that the temple is the marker of Zion, of that spot. So God sees the world through a mosque right now, unfortunately.
Right.
And he that's just part of, that's he wants that filter. We're in exile. It doesn't really change anything. It just is. I think it's more about the mosque is more about the fact that there's not a temple there. It's more than it's. At this level, you're not going to purify the refinement. What the sign marker is in Mazel, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have the temple. That's all that means. So everything is refined, but we are not scrutinizing the question. Why is there a mosque up there and not a temple? Think of it. When you go to Jerusalem, it's like the most weird thing. You come down the steps, you look, you say, why is there a mosque? Seriously. You're meant to scrutinize God. But from not a point of questioning God, but scrutinizing, right? If this is all refined, then we got to understand the refinement. That alone would change things. It would remove that klippah that we're talking about. It would bring the creation closer to Zion. That's under the jurisdiction of the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Tzvaot, God of Legions. That name either sends you to exile or it brings you to the Mount Zion. So I think what we've accomplished now is we talked about just, God and bringing Shefa down, and now we're saying that there's pathways in the universe and Shefa. But we're understanding that God is pumping godliness to us. We are under a predicament where we have klippah. God willed it that way. Our job is to repent and return to God, return to Zion, and connect to the refined quality that really each individual has to come to terms with. And I think that is the character refinement, right? To basically just to be able to just turn around. You're walking away from God saying, see, there's no God. If you were to just turn around and face God, that's the difference between a coarse person and a refined person.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously trying to get closer to God. But it's you're asking someone to change their perspective. Right? Malcolm, you say, when you get a fight, you say, you're no good. Well, now the test is on you, Malcolm. Can you change your perspective? Can you say, well, maybe you are good? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the whole deal. Right? I mean, this is what the Vilna Gaon says. Break your head, change your ways. Right? Malcolm says, you're stupid. Did you ever think Malcolm did not say that? And undo that? I don't want to go to work today. Did you ever think about not saying that and undoing that? That's the entire thing. That's what the Vilna Gaon says in Evan Shleim in the first two Mishnayos. Break your evil traits to have chiyus adam. That's the whole deal. Because everything that you say negative, you block, you're turned away from those channels of God. You're not even interested in going back to God the right way. So every one of those that you break, you just got one step closer to facing God.
Right.
And those are you. How do you say? It's kind of like a paradox, right? Because you are refined and you're being you, but you are not aware that is only you. Again, when you said right, you should have said right on, and you're supposed to say no. I was supposed to say right. You're trying to intimidate me and trick me and whatever. I'm not going to fall for it. You are just a whipping stick on my path to get me to recognize God as all you are. See what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the bitachon. You have to be able to stand your ground and say, God created me. Deal with that. That's where you got to get to. But remember, God also takes your body and challenges it. So just because I hit you with a